Welcome to our deep dive today, taking us into the heart of apartheid South Africa
Oh, wow, yeah.
with Kaffir Boy by Mark Mathabane.
A powerful memoir.
You've given us this source material,
Yeah.
and honestly,
It is.
just
Yeah.
reading the title's like a gut punch. You
Oh,
know?
absolutely.
Imagine growing up in the 60s and 70s where racial segregation was so ingrained
Right.
that even the words used to describe you were like weapons. That's the world that Mathabane brings to life in this book,
Yeah.
and we're going to explore it together,
To see
seeing apartheid's realities through his young eyes.
through his eyes, yeah. What strikes me immediately is how Mathabane reclaims that word,
Yep.
Kaffir,
Yeah.
by putting it right there in the title.
It's powerful.
It's a word loaded with hate, meant to dehumanize,
Right.
but he's not shying away from it.
Right.
He's forcing us to confront its ugliness head on.
He's owning it.
He is.
Yeah, it's like he's saying, this is what you called me.
Right.
This is the world I had to survive.
Exactly.
And he doesn't let us forget the weight of that word.
No.
Even in the preface, he talks about how Kaffir, with its roots in the Arabic word for infidel,
Right.
became a constant tool of degradation in the hands of white South Africans.
Yeah. And it wasn't just casual cruelty.
Right.
This was a system designed to strip away a person's dignity.
Their humanity.
Their very humanity. Mathabane even quotes Albert Luthuli,
Oh, wow.
the Nobel Peace Prize winner,
Okay.
who described apartheid as the most terrible dream in the world,
Wow.
which is a chillingly accurate description.
Yeah. So let's dive into the world.
Yeah.
Mathabane paints for us.
Yeah.
He grew up in Alexandra Township, right?
Yes.
Can you paint a picture of what life was like there?
So Alexandria is one of the most notorious black townships in South Africa.
Okay.
Imagine a place crammed with people,
Yeah.
struggling with poverty, yet just a stone's throw
Wow.
from lavish white suburbs.
Oh, the contrast.
Mathabane talks about these signs posted on the roads leading into black areas that literally said, any person who enters renders himself liable for prosecution.
Wow.
It's mind-boggling.
You could be arrested for just being in the wrong place.
Yes.
Because of your skin color.
Yeah,
It's hard to even fathom that level of segregation.
it is.
And the irony is Alexandria was actually built by black miners
That's right.
who were then systematically excluded from its prosperity.
Exactly.
And the fear.
The fear was constant.
Yeah.
Imagine living with the knowledge that at any moment the police could
Just barge in.
storm into your home, tear your family apart.
It's terrifying.
Mathabane describes these raids in vivid detail.
Yeah.
The chaos, the violence, the
Yeah.
complete disregard for human dignity.
So it wasn't just a disruption.
Uh.
It was a tactic of terror.
It was.
You could really feel that terror in the book's opening scene.
Oh, absolutely.
Young Mark hiding under the kitchen table during one of those raids.
Right.
Completely terrified and confused.
Yeah.
Trying to make sense of the world collapsing around him.
A child.
The darkness. The feel of those cold concrete slabs under the table.
Right.
His mother's hushed voice.
Yeah.
Like you're right there with him.
That scene is a masterclass in immersive storytelling,
Yeah.
but it also highlights a crucial point.
What's that?
Mathabane is just a child.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand the complexities of apartheid,
Wow.
the political machinations.
Yeah.
All he knows is fear,
Right.
the sudden disappearance of loved ones,
Right.
and this label Kaffir boy that's being forced upon him.
Right. It's through those traumatic experiences
Yeah.
that he begins to understand what being a Kaffir boy actually means
Right.
in this society.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, he's just a child.
Yeah.
How does that shape his view of the world?
Well, those police raids become a recurring nightmare for him,
Oh, wow.
shaping his understanding of the world and his place in it.
Right.
It's not just the immediate fear,
No.
it's the lasting psychological impact.
Yeah.
Imagine the anxiety, the constant sense of vulnerability, a
Yeah.
feeling of being utterly powerless.
Yeah.
That's the weight he carries.
It's absolutely heartbreaking.
It is.
And to make matters worse, his family life,
Right.
already strained by poverty, is shattered when his father is arrested.
Yes. The scene of his father's arrest is incredibly painful to read.
Yeah.
He's interrogated over his passbook,
Right.
a document that controlled the movement of black people under apartheid.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine having your entire life dictated by a piece of paper?
Wow.
Where you could work, where you could live,
Yeah.
even when you could be out on the streets.
It's dehumanizing.
The father's humiliation at the hands of the police is just devastating.
And then he's imprisoned. leaving the family to fend for themselves.
Right.
How do they cope with his absence?
His absence has a ripple effect. They're already struggling,
Right.
but now they're plunged even deeper into poverty,
Yeah.
facing hunger and illness.
Wow.
Mathabane even describes eating mucus out of desperation.
Oh, gosh.
It's a gut-wrenching image that speaks volumes about their desperation.
That's just unimaginable.
It is.
But in the midst of all of this,
Mm-hmm.
his mother emerges as a truly remarkable figure, doesn't she?
She does.
Yeah.
Even as the world seems to crumble around her,
Yeah.
she tries to hold the family together.
Yeah.
It's a testament to her incredible resilience.
Right.
She even seems to have these premonitions about the police raids,
Yeah, yeah.
adding another layer of tension to their lives.
It's like she has this sixth sense,
right.
this deep awareness of the danger that constantly surrounds them.
It speaks to the collective trauma experienced by the community, this
Well.
constant anticipation of violence.
Yeah. And while she represents strength,
Mm-hmm.
we see Mathabane's personality changing as well,
Yeah.
becoming more hardened by the harsh realities he's facing.
Right.
He's forced to grow up so quickly,
Yeah.
confronting the brutality of apartheid long before any child should.
Absolutely.
What's particularly fascinating is this clash we see
Right.
between his modern experiences and his father's deep-rooted tribal traditions.
It's a fascinating dynamic.
Yeah.
The father, while loving, insists on upholding these traditions,
Right.
even when they seem at odds with the reality of their lives in the township.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's clinging to a way of life that's slipping away,
right.
trying to hold on to some semblance of order in a world that feels chaotic and unjust.
It's a very human response
Yeah.
to a situation that feels beyond his control.
Yeah.
And it leads to some powerful moments in the book,
Okay.
like when the father catches young Mark eating from the same bowl as his mother and brother.
Okay.
He absolutely loses it.
Really?
Because according to his tribal customs, men aren't supposed to do that.
Wait, he's punished for sharing a bowl with his family.
Right?
That seems so arbitrary.
To us, it seems completely absurd.
Yeah.
But in the father's worldview, this act represents a threat to his son's masculinity. It's a powerful example of how deeply cultural beliefs can shape our perceptions,
Yeah.
even in the face of such hardship.
It's a reminder that even within a community facing oppression,
Right.
there are these internal tensions, these clashes of values and worldview.
Absolutely.
How does young Mathabane react to this clash?
Well,
Does he embrace his father's traditions?
actually, we see him start to resent these rituals, or he sees them as pointless and embarrassing,
Okay.
especially when he compares his life to that of his friends who don't have to follow such strict rules.
Yeah.
He's being pulled towards the modern world
Right.
and the possibilities it seems to offer.
So he's caught between these two worlds.
Yes.
The traditional world of his father
Mm-hmm.
and the modern, albeit oppressive world of apartheid-era South Africa.
Right.
He doesn't seem to fully belong in either.
That's a very insightful observation.
Yeah.
And this feeling of being caught between worlds is only intensified by the constant threat of police raids and the poverty that surrounds him.
Right.
He's starting to see these rituals as distractions
Okay.
from the more pressing issues of survival.
It's like he's starting to realize that his father's traditions,
Right.
while meaningful in a different context,
Yes.
don't really equip him to navigate this harsh reality.
Exactly.
And then his father loses his job,
Right.
which feels like a turning point in the book.
Absolutely. It's a devastating blow
Yeah.
that pushes them even further into despair.
Right.
But at the same time, you can sense Mathabane starting to form his own identity,
Yeah.
separate from his father's influence.
Oh, go.
He's forced to take on more responsibility,
Right.
helping his mother look for work, caring for his younger siblings.
Like a force growing up.
He's growing up fast, out of necessity.
It's heartbreaking to witness their lives unraveling.
It is.
They're evicted from their shack,
Yeah.
reduced to eating mucus to survive.
Hmm.
The level of poverty and desperation is just gut-wrenching.
It-
And yet, you mentioned his mother's resilience.
She's remarkable.
She's really a central figure in all of this, isn't she?
She is.
Yeah.
Her strength and resourcefulness in the face of such adversity
Yeah.
are truly remarkable.
Yeah.
And amidst all the despair, there are these glimmers of hope
Oh.
and even joy.
Wow.
Mathabane describes the children finding ways to entertain themselves,
Okay.
playing games, finding moments of lightness despite their bleak circumstances.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times,
Yeah.
the human spirit can find ways to endure,
To adapt.
to find moments of connection and
It's
happiness.
that flicker of humanity that keeps you going,
Right.
even when the world feels like it's falling apart.
Exactly.
And it's during these moments of despair that his mother's premonitions about the police raids become even more prominent.
It's almost like she can sense the approaching danger,
Right.
adding this eerie layer of tension to their lives.
Right.
It speaks to the collective trauma of living under constant threat.
Yeah. Never knowing when that knock on the door
Right.
will signal another intrusion, another disruption, another loss.
And when his father is finally arrested,
Mm.
it's not just a personal tragedy for the family.
No.
It becomes symbolic of the entire system that's crushing them.
It does.
This arbitrary and unjust system of oppression
Yeah.
that targets them simply because of the color of their skin.
Exactly. It's a turning point for Mathabane's understanding of apartheid.
Yeah.
He sees firsthand how this system can tear a family apart
Right.
for no reason other than race.
Wow.
It's a harsh lesson,
Yeah.
but it also fuels his growing sense of rebellion.
Right.
He begins to question everything,
Okay.
including his father's traditions,
Right.
seeing them as inadequate tools for navigating this reality.
He's realizing that to survive, to thrive, he needs to forge his own path,
Yes.
separate from his father's influence.
Right.
And that's where we see education starting to emerge as his lifeline.
It is. He recognizes the power of education as a means of escape,
Yeah.
as a way to potentially break free from the cycle of poverty and oppression
All right.
that has defined his life so far.
Wow.
It's a glimmer of hope in a seemingly hopeless situation.
And that glimmer of hope is what makes his story so compelling.
It is.
He's not sugarcoating the horrors of apartheid,
No.
but he's also showing us the resilience of the human spirit,
Right.
the power of hope to keep us going even in the most desperate of circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you want to hear more about how he navigates this world,
Absolutely.
how he holds on to that hope.
Yes. And we'll explore that further
Yeah.
as we continue our deep dive into Kaffir Boy.
Yeah,
It's a story that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
I bet.
A story that challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and the world we live in. Mm-hmm. Picking up where we left off,
Yeah.
that yearning for a different future,
Right.
it really sets the stage
Okay.
for one of the most powerful themes in Kaffir Boy.
Okay. The psychological impact of apartheid
Right.
on young Mathabane.
You know, we've talked about the physical realities
Right.
of living under such a brutal system.
Yeah.
The poverty,
Mm-hmm.
the violence, the constant threat of those raids.
Mm-hmm.
But what strikes me is how Mathabane lays bare the inner turmoil,
Right.
the way apartheid warps a child's sense of self.
It's almost like a constant state of siege.
Yeah.
Not just on the community, but on the individual psyche.
Right.
He talks about those recurring nightmares, the anxiety, the deep-seated insecurity.
Yeah.
It's trauma woven into the very fabric of his being.
And then there's the psychological impact of constantly being labeled a Kaffir,
Right.
being told you're inferior, less than human,
Yeah.
simply because of your race.
Mm-hmm.
It's enough to break anyone's spirit.
Absolutely. Mathabane doesn't shy away from discussing the internalized racism he grappled with,
Right.
the struggle to maintain a sense of self-worth
Right.
in a society that relentlessly tells you you're worthless.
That is a heavy burden to bear.
It makes you think about the insidious nature of oppression,
Mm.
how it doesn't just control your movements,
Right.
but also tries to control your mind, your very sense of self.
Yes.
It's chilling and sadly still relevant today.
You're right. It absolutely resonates
Yeah.
with the ongoing struggles against systemic racism and oppression
Right.
we see around the world.
Yeah.
Kaffir Boy is a stark reminder
Yeah.
of the human cost of these systems,
Right.
how they can warp individual lives and poison entire societies.
It's a story that needs to be heard,
It does.
even if it's painful at times.
Yeah.
But amidst all this darkness,
Right.
there's also this incredible theme of family dynamics running through the book.
Yes.
It's complicated, messy,
Yeah.
but also deeply moving.
You see the love between Mathabane and his parents, but also the friction,
Yeah.
the clash between his father's traditional values.
And the realities of their lives under apartheid.
Yeah.
And then there's the mother,
Right.
this pillar of strength,
Yeah.
holding everything together despite unimaginable hardship.
Her premonitions about the police raids add this almost mystical element to the story.
Right.
It's like she has this intuitive sense
Yeah.
of the danger lurking around every corner.
Right. It's fascinating how she becomes this symbolic figure
Yeah.
representing the strength and intuition of Black women in the face of oppression.
Right.
Her determination to shield her children,
Mm-hmm.
even if it means putting herself at risk,
Yeah.
is incredibly powerful.
And you can't help but wonder, is it intuition?
Right.
Or is it a heightened awareness born out of constant fear,
Right.
a hypervigilance that becomes second nature in such a hostile environment?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's likely a bit of both.
Right.
A combination of lived experience
Right.
and perhaps even a subconscious understanding of the patterns of oppression.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's a testament to her resilience.
Speaking of resilience,
Mm-hmm.
we see Mathabane himself
Yes.
going through a profound transformation as the book progresses.
He does.
He starts as this relatively innocent child,
Right.
but the events he experiences,
Mm-hmm.
the trauma he witnesses,
Yeah.
gradually shape him
Mm-hmm.
into a more hardened, cynical young man.
It's a heartbreaking but necessary evolution.
Yeah.
He's forced to confront the brutality of apartheid
Right.
long before any child should.
Right.
The innocence is chipped away,
Yeah.
replaced by a grim understanding of the world he inhabits.
There's almost a sense of a split personality developing.
Mm-mm.
On the one hand, he wants to be a good son,
Right.
upholding his father's traditions.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, he's yearning for a different future,
Right.
one where those traditions don't seem to fit.
That tension is at the core of his internal conflict.
Right.
And the way Mathabane describes his father's rituals, it's almost like the father is clinging to them as a lifeline,
Right.
a way to maintain a sense of control
Yeah.
in a world where he feels powerless.
It's a very human response, isn't it?
Exactly.
To hold on to something familiar,
Yeah.
something that feels meaningful
Mm-hmm.
when everything else is falling apart.
And it makes those moments of clash even more poignant.
Right.
We talked earlier about the incident
Yeah.
where the father punishes Mathabane
Mm-hmm.
for eating from the same bowl as his mother and brother.
Yeah.
To us, it seems like a completely absurd overreaction,
Right.
but it highlights the depth of the father's commitment to those traditions,
Yeah.
even when they seem so out of sync
Right.
with their lived reality.
It's a stark illustration of how deeply those cultural beliefs can be ingrained, how they can shape our perceptions and reactions, even in the most unexpected ways.
Absolutely.
But for young Mathabane, experiencing this clash firsthand,
Yes.
it's a turning point. He starts to resent those rituals, seeing them as pointless and embarrassing,
Yeah.
particularly when he compares his life
Right.
to his peers who aren't bound by those same scriptures.
Right.
He's increasingly drawn to the modern world, to the possibilities that education represents.
And when his father loses his job,
Right.
it's a catalyst for further change.
It's like that event pushes them all closer to the edge, deeper into despair.
Yes.
But for Mathabane, it also seems to mark a shift towards independence,
Right.
a separation from his father's influence, and a growing awareness of his own agency.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
With the father gone,
Yeah.
Mathabane is thrust into a new role.
Right.
He has to help his mother, care for his siblings,
Right.
navigate this world in ways he never had to before.
Yeah.
It's a brutal coming-of-age story,
It is.
but it also highlights his resilience,
Right.
his resourcefulness.
Yeah.
He's adapting, learning to survive
Yeah.
in this harsh environment.
And it's those survival skills, that grit,
Right.
that lay the foundation for his eventual escape from Alexandra. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right.
Before we get to that point,
Okay.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier.
Okay.
The psychological toll of apartheid. It's a recurring motif throughout the book, isn't it?
It is. And it's not just Mathabane's individual experience.
Right.
He also captures the collective trauma of the community,
Yeah.
the pervasive fear that permeates their lives.
Right.
Remember those premonitions his mother has about the police raids?
Right.
They're not just a plot device.
No.
They speak to a deeper truth
Yeah.
about living under constant threat.
It's like everyone is living in a state of hypervigilance,
Right.
waiting for the other shoe to drop, never truly feeling safe in their own homes.
Exactly. And that constant fear has consequences.
Right.
It erodes trust.
Mm-hmm.
It creates divisions.
Yeah.
It stifles creativity and joy.
Wow.
It's a poison that seeps into every aspect of life.
And for a child like Mathabane,
Yeah.
who's still trying to understand the world,
Right?
it must be incredibly disorienting.
It is.
It's like the ground is constantly shifting beneath his feet.
Absolutely. Imagine trying to build a sense of self,
Right.
a sense of belonging,
Yeah.
when the world around you is so unstable,
Yeah.
so hostile.
Right.
It's a testament to his spirit
Yeah.
that he manages to hold on to any hope at all.
And that hope,
Mm.
that spark of defiance,
Yes,
is what ultimately leads him to education.
it is.
He starts to see it as a path to something better,
Mm-hmm.
a way to potentially break free from the cycle of poverty and oppression
Right.
that's defined his life so far.
It's a powerful realization.
Yeah.
He's not just accepting his fate.
Right.
He's actively seeking a way out.
Yeah.
He's looking for a different narrative,
Mm-hmm.
one where he has the power to shape his own destiny.
And that's where the story really starts to shift, doesn't it?
You're catching on?
From a narrative of survival
Mm-hmm.
to a narrative of empowerment,
Right.
of reclaiming agency.
It's a subtle but profound shift. And it speaks to the transformative power of education,
Right.
not just as a means to acquire knowledge,
Right.
but as a way to challenge the very structures that seek to confine you.
It's like he's taking back control,
Mm.
even if it's just in this one small corner of his life.
Right.
He's saying, I may not be able to control the police raids or the poverty,
Mm-hmm.
but I can control what I learn,
Right.
how I see the world,
Yeah.
how I define myself.
Exactly. And that's what makes Kaffir Boy such a compelling story. It's not just a testament to the horrors of apartheid.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the human capacity for hope and resilience,
Yeah.
even in the face of unimaginable adversity.
It's a story that reminds us
Mm-hmm.
that even in the darkest of times, there's always a possibility for change,
Yes.
for growth,
Mm-hmm.
for reclaiming our own narratives.
Absolutely.
And it's through education that Mathabane begins to see that possibility for himself.
Right.
He's beginning to envision a different future,
Mm-hmm.
one where he can break free from the confines of Alexandria,
Yeah.
from the labels that have been imposed on him.
It's a glimmer of light
Yeah.
in a world that often feels shrouded in darkness.
Right.
But it's a powerful glimmer.
Yeah.
One that ultimately leads him
Yeah.
on a journey of transformation.
As we delve deeper into Kaffir Boy,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes clear that Mathabane's journey
Mm-hmm.
is about so much more than just physical escape.
Right.
It's about breaking free
Yeah.
from the mental and emotional chains of apartheid.
It's about reclaiming his narrative.
Yeah.
Redefining himself on his own terms.
Right.
And education becomes the key
Right.
to unlocking that freedom.
He starts to see the world beyond Alexandria, beyond the limitations imposed by apartheid.
Right.
He discovers new ideas, new ways of thinking,
Right.
and most importantly, he begins to believe in his own potential.
It's an incredible transformation.
Right.
He's no longer just surviving.
Right.
He's thriving.
Yeah.
He's embracing the power of knowledge
Yeah.
to shape his own destiny.
And it's not an easy path.
No.
There's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
There's the weight of his family struggles,
Right.
the constant pull of his past.
Right.
But he perseveres,
He does.
driven by this burning desire for something more.
And that's where his story becomes truly inspiring.
Yeah.
He's not just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
He's an agent of change.
He is.
He's taking control of his own life,
Right.
defying the odds stacked against him.
There's this one scene right before Christmas
Right.
that really captures this struggle.
Mm-hmm.
The family is barely surviving.
Yeah.
The kids are sick.
Right.
They're facing eviction.
Yeah.
It's a bleak picture.
Mm-hmm.
But even in the midst of all that despair,
Right.
there's this flicker of hope.
You're talking about the scene where Mathabane's mother tries to make Christmas special Yes. for the children despite having almost nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's heartbreaking,
it is.
but also incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
She's determined to create a moment of joy,
Right.
a sense of normalcy,
Yeah.
even in the face of such hardship.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a defiant act
It is.
against the crushing weight of their circumstances.
It speaks volumes about her character.
Yeah.
Her unwavering love for her children.
Right.
She's not giving up.
Mhm.
She's not letting apartheid steal their joy.
And that resilience,
Mm-hmm.
that refusal to be broken,
Right.
becomes a source of strength for Mathabane.
Yes.
He sees his mother as a role model,
Mm-hmm.
someone who embodies the spirit of resistance,
Right.
even in the smallest of acts.
It's a powerful message, isn't it?
It is.
That even in the darkest of times,
Yeah.
we have the power to choose hope,
Right.
to choose joy.
Yeah.
To choose resistance.
And it's that choice that ultimately propels Mathbane forward.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't let the trauma define him.
No.
He uses it as fuel,
Right.
as motivation to create a better future
Yeah.
for himself and his family.
And he does. He eventually gets a scholarship to attend a prestigious school,
Wow.
opening up a world of opportunities
Right.
that were previously unimaginable.
It's a triumphant moment.
It is.
But it's not without its complexities.
Right.
There's the guilt of leaving his family behind,
Mm.
the awareness that he's escaping a reality they still have to endure.
It's a bittersweet victory,
Yeah.
one that highlights the lasting impact of apartheid,
Right.
the way it continues to shape the lives
Yeah.
of those who lived through it.
So as we come to the end of our deep dive into Kaffir Boy, what are the key takeaways you think our listeners should hold on to?
I think this book offers us a powerful and unflinching look at the human cost of oppression
Right.
in all its forms. It reminds us that racism and inequality aren't just abstract concepts.
Yeah.
They have real, tangible consequences for individuals and communities.
It's a story that challenges us to confront those consequences, to acknowledge the systems of power
Right.
that perpetuate injustice, and to actively work towards dismantling them.
And it's a story about the power of hope,
Right.
the resilience of the human spirit,
Yeah.
and the transformative potential of education.
Right.
Mathabane's journey is a testament to the fact that
Right.
even in the face of unimaginable adversity,
Hmm.
we have the power to choose a different path,
Right.
to create a better future.
Kaffir Boy is a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
It is.
It's a story that challenges our understanding of childhood, race,
Right.
and the impact of political systems on individual lives.
It's a must-read for anyone who wants to understand the legacy of apartheid
Absolutely.
and its ongoing relevance in our world today.
I absolutely agree. And for our listener, I hope this deep dive has sparked some new thoughts,
Right.
some new questions.
Yeah.
How does Mathabane's story resonate with your own experiences, with your own understanding of the world?
What insights can you glean from his journey,
Right.
from his struggles, from his triumphs?
Yeah.
What can we learn from his story about resilience,
Mm-hmm.
about hope,
Right.
about the power of education to create change?
Yeah. These are questions worth pondering.
They are.
Kaffir Boy is not just a history lesson.
No.
It's a call to action,
Hmm.
an invitation to engage with the complexities of our world
Yes.
and to work towards a more just and equitable future.
Beautifully said.
And with that, we conclude our deep dive into Kaffir Boy.
Thank you for joining us on this journey.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those conversations going.